Commemorate your first Notre Dame game or that of a friend or family member with a Notre Dame Football Heritage Project certificate. Visit ndcertificate.com to learn more.
Welcome to the Clark and Houk pregame show, Boston College edition. I'm Len Clark of Irish Illustrated, joined by Phil Houk of Fighting Irish Preview. Saturday afternoon at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time, the 7-3 Fighting Irish will face the 3-7 Eagles of Boston College. Phil, it's senior day. It's going to be real cold, and the opponent is Boston College.
Yeah, and Len, you know, I still have nightmares every so often, and they revolve around Boston College. and of course, and again, I was talking to our colleague Tim Priester today about it. He calls it the most devastating loss in his 41-year career of covering Notre Dame football, and I agree. I was there that night. We talked about it before you started this show, and that, of course, was '93 when Boston College denied the Irish a national championship that arguably they won even with that loss, but not according to the polls.
Phil, you're living in the past. We need to focus on Saturn. There's a chance for the Irish
to do it.
8-3.
Yeah, and it's negative coming out of last week too after that second half. But let's go positive on the show. Absolutely, it is senior day, and that's a big day for some great players, and day that they will always remember. And I know just on a different scale with one of my own who played college football, what that day means to you, because it's a great accomplishment.
Phil, on the show today, we're going to have some senior day memories and talk about senior day. Marcus Freeman's first senior class. We'll talk about the legacy of this team as well. But also we're going to talk about Braden Lenzy, and you talk about positive. It's getting him back into the fold, if you will. A big game against Navy, and probably one of the best catches you'll ever see that he made against the Mids.
You know, when I saw that catch, I said it was like watching a magician pull a rabbit out of a hat, because I have no idea how he got that football. Now, when they showed the different angles, you can see what happened. But the thing that I am most amazed by is that, okay, he just kind of with a little bit of luck and skill was able to get his hands on the ball, sight unseen behind the defender's back as he has his bear hugging the guy. But the fact that he was able to pull it out with one hand and still hold on to the ball and secure it was just remarkable. And I try to stay away from too much hyperbole, but that was possibly the best catch I have ever seen in a football game.
Now, Phil, I like you talking about that. We've got some people in the room. If you have a question for Phil or myself, please let us know. We've got a comment coming in. We're going to get to it, but instead of Phil talking about Braden Lenzy making that catch, how about we listen to Braden Lenzy talk about that catch?
You know, I would love to claim that I just acquired some new skill set to catch everything. But no, the ball was thrown up, and I saw the ball was a little late, and Drew gave me the option to either come back or I had to push him out, and I wasn't sure what. The dude just kind of got right up into me because he wasn't looking at the ball, and I only had my eyes at the football at the time. So that might have honestly helped me just be able to kind of watch it and not get distracted by his movements. And when it landed, I kind of had an idea of where it was, but kind of not. And just kind of in a split second, I just really tried to gain a grip, because I could feel it in my hands and kind of on his back. And once I felt a good grip in my right hand, I just really tried to yank it before, because I really didn't have a great grip on it. And I was nervous I was going to grab it and just kind of throw it out of my hands. I got lucky, and I caught it, and it came up, and yeah, you've seen it. So it's crazy.
Hey, Phil, he said everything that you did except the magician part, but one of the greatest catches, and it was great to see him get back into the fold, if you will. He's going to be a threat. Look for him to be targeted on Saturday by quarterback Drew Pine.
Yeah, that was kind of one of the missing pieces of this offense. And, of course, the offense was missing in the second half. But one of the missing pieces had been the wide receivers, getting them really to be consistent threats. Well, good to see a senior like Braden Lenzy, a fifth-year senior, for that matter, have a good game. But Jaden Thomas, Deion Colsey, those guys combined for 10 catches in the first half of the game against Navy and a couple of touchdowns. That's kind of been one of the missing aspects of the offense. So that's a real positive for the Irish.
We got some lurkers in your background. We see your wife there. Say hi to her. But hey, we enjoy you being in the program. Matthew Rudnick has joined us, and Rob Carbone, I hope I'm saying that right, actually said he literally cried during that game back in 1993. So a lot of people commiserating with us, remembering that. But let's not reflect on the past. Let's reflect on what's going to go forward in this program. And that's something that Marcus Freeman talked about on Monday and again in Thursday in his press conference, is about the legacy of this senior class. And Phil, your thoughts on the senior class pouring the foundation for the future of the Freeman era.
Well, when you make that changeover in leadership, it doesn't really matter how good the coach is, and I think we got a good one, but it's difficult to make that transition. It's difficult on the team because it's a new regime, it's a new way of doing things, and so I know Marcus Freeman was very complimentary of this group and the leadership that they have shown in making that transition for, in his view, a smooth one and a solid one, and building that foundation.
Let's listen to the head coach of the Fighting Irish on that legacy left by the outgoing senior class.
I've told the captains, but you know what I'll tell those seniors is they built the foundation of what I believe is the future of the Notre Dame football program under me. And that's different than previous head coaches. Notre Dame football has been successful for a really long time, but the leadership has changed, and you have to rebuild that foundation to fit the new leader. And that's what I'll credit this group for, is really building the foundation for what I believe is going to be an extremely bright future of Notre Dame football. And so I'll be forever indebted to this. Will be a special group forever to me, because they had blind faith. Like, they didn't choose me to be their head coach, you know, and they came to Notre Dame for other reasons. Well, you know what? I was named head coach no matter if they chose me or not, and they committed to the vision I had for this football program. They worked tirelessly. They really built the bond, they established, they implement, probably the best word is they implemented the culture that I put on the walls. Like, I can put whatever you want on the walls, right? And I can say this is what I want our program to do, but until it's implemented, until it's carried out from the players and the leaders throughout the football players and the team, it's just words on the wall.
Marcus Freeman summing it up right there. The culture that will continue based on this senior class. And what you said, the ability to adapt to change. And that's something that can't be discredited, and really an accolade in the part of the senior class, is that willingness to move forward despite change.
Yeah, you know, Len, you always remember your first love, and so I'm sure Marcus Freeman, as a first year head coach, will always remember that first senior class with which he built that foundation, because he had came in with some very definite ideas, different from his predecessor, as to how he wanted that program built and what it was going to be built on. And he's done so. And so it'll be a great day on Saturday. And you got to guard against that emotion sometimes getting the best of you. Sometimes it has led to slow starts in the past, and the Irish can't afford to do that against this Boston College team this week.
Well, Boston College is really a team on the rise. Phil Dracovic, transfer from Notre Dame, probably will not play, but they've got a good quarterback and a great wide receiver. The big question is, will the weather have any effect on the game going into Saturday?
Well, it's going to have effect in one way or another, because it's 40% chance of snow, mid-20s, windy. We're going to see wind again, which we had seen a couple of weeks ago as well. And, you know, those are all factors that you really, though, kind of expect, you know, in the month of November. Sometimes you hope they don't occur. Well, we're going to see them on Saturday. And again, it's important that the Irish focus and not let the emotions get the best of them, and don't let the weather get the best of them as well. Notre Dame is a better team than this Boston College team. I'll just sum it up right at the start before we get too much more into them. But Boston College will come to play very much like Navy did last week. They're going to play 4 quarters.
Well, Phil, senior day, a lot of emotion, kind of bittersweet. It's the last home game of the year, even though they got one more game left out at USC and then a bowl game. But you mentioned not having that letdown Well, earlier this week, we had a chance to talk to both the coaches and players about Senior Day. You'll hear Josh Lugg talking about the greatest gift you can give to seniors on Senior Day is to execute and get a win. But we'll also get some memories from Tommy Reese and what the seniors meant to Al Golden, another new coach on the Fighting Irish staff. And here is the conversations.
It was like it was freezing. It was like minus 11 wind chill and snowing. I wore gloves for the first time because Doug Flutie told me to in pregame, and it was just a special moment. You know, I remember the student section chanting my name at the end, and that being pretty cool. I remember my brother being on the field pregame when he wasn't supposed to be, and having that moment there. And you put a lot of work and time, and everybody says it goes fast, and it really does. And just being so appreciative, for my time here as a player. And I remember my freshman year, senior night was against Utah, which was my first start. And then I remember the senior night and just remembering how important it was as a freshman to give it to the seniors, and then as a senior, to end with a win was, really a great way to end your career.
It's like any other week. It's a great opportunity for us to honor our seniors here, and we have a lot of them this year. So to be able to recognize them and all the work they've done, from starters to walk-on guys that have huge roles in the program, it's a good opportunity. But at the end of the day, Senior Day is not great unless we execute our job and do what we need to do. So I think guys right now have a great focus, especially after this Tuesday practice. Everyone's kind of locked in, knowing that we still have to execute and do our job. It's great to celebrate that on the side, but the best way we can honor our seniors is playing our best ball.
These kids have been amazing, and I'll take it from my perspective since you're asking me. Like, the second I got here, these guys have done nothing but embrace me, and they've been, phenomenal to me in the transition. And it's an honor to coach them. It's an honor to be here and to hopefully impact them in some little way. But they're the ones leaving the mark on us. Just a wonderful group of seniors, and we're going to celebrate them and really fight for them and play for them on Saturday.
But Phil, it comes down to execution. The best way to honor a senior class is to get that win, move to 8-3 before heading out to the coast to face USC.
Yeah, you go to 8-3, and the Irish are going to be guaranteed a pretty good bowl, probably the Holiday Bowl, maybe the Gator Bowl. Those are the two that I'm hearing the most about right now. And with a chance to go to 9-3, and that gives you a chance, if you can win your bowl game, to get double-digit wins. So it's a big game. It's going to be a challenge. This BC offense, Len, we haven't talked about it too much, but you did mention the freshman quarterback, Emmett Moorhead. In the last, he led a come from behind victory last week against number 17 ranked North Carolina. Last second touchdown pass, they took out North Carolina in the upset, North Carolina State 21-20. He's thrown 7 touchdown passes in the last 2 games. He's a freshman, big kid, 6'5". He's thrown for 660 yards. As good as the passing game has been for BC, they don't run it worth a darn. They are dead last in the country in average yards per rushing. Think about that one. So they're obviously a bit one-dimensional. The Irish maybe can capitalize by bringing the pass rush early and often. I would look for that in this football game. But it's going to be, again, 4 quarters, but Senior Day emotions. And you're right, there's just nothing better. I mean, Senior Day, if you lose, man, it just doesn't sit well for the rest of your lives. So it can work against you, but it can really work for you too. I think Notre Dame will be very motivated this week. We've seen it all season long, Len. Notre Dame has played to the level of their competition. And I think for this game, they're going to recognize that fact, and they're going to know that they're going to have to turn it up a notch in this football game against BC and play for 4 quarters for the sake of their seniors.
Saturday afternoon, 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time at Notre Dame Stadium, the kickoff between the 18th ranked Fighting Irish of Notre Dame and Boston College. And Phil, let's get right to your picks. We know, but before we get to your picks, let's talk about some of the injuries. We know that safety Brandon Joseph is out. Jack Kaiser injured in the Navy game, probable, but J.D. Bertrand, who missed the game against Navy, a go 100%.
Yeah, it'll be great to have Bertrand back. And I'll tell you what, Len, he was really missed against Navy last week. If J.D. Bertrand had been in that game, that fullback for Navy is not going to run for 133 yards. I can just almost guarantee it. And you could see from schematically me rewatching the game a couple of different times, you had inexperience stopping that first option. So it'll be good to have Bertrand back in the game. Brandon Joseph obviously will be missed. But really, if you think about it, for the most part, the Irish have had a pretty, Tyler Buckner was a big loss, but Notre Dame has had a pretty healthy season overall.
It's hard to believe J.D. Bertrand has basically missed 2 games this year and still one of the leading tacklers on Notre Dame's. All right, let's get to the judges' pick.
Yeah, my pick, I really think the fact that BC is one-dimensional, as I mentioned, pretty good passing attack, not a good running attack, and the fact that BC, this is a middling defense. They do some things well, but it's not a vintage BC defense. We've seen some really good BC defenses over the year. Those things should work in the Irish's advantage. Look for Notre Dame to have a good pass rush, maybe to get a bunch of sacks. That would be nice. Isaiah Foskey could set the all-time school record with just one more sack. And, the weather report may affect this pick that I'm about to make. But I'm not going to change it because it's already out there on the internet what my pick for the game is. I'm picking the Irish 38 and BC 21.
Well, we had a couple of questions come in. Rob Carbone, once again, Foskey should get the sack record on Saturday. You mentioned that, but Jack Freeman is asking, how will the weather affect Drew Pine?
Well, yeah. I mean, he's not built for passing in the wind, and we're going to see the wind in this game. That may be an issue. But we have survived wind before. We survived wind in the game against Clemson, and so it can be done. Hopefully the Irish can have a running attack that plays for 4 quarters, and that will lead to better things in the passing game. So, but it's a concern, but it also ought to affect the passing game for BC, and that's their strength. That's their only strength. Fortunately for the Irish, we can Notre Dame can run and pass and run the ball probably better than pass. In fact, without a doubt.
Bang that gavel and give us a score.
Once again, Irish 38 and BC 21. Might be a little lower, but I'll stick with my original pick because of the weather. But I like the Irish by about 16, 17 points.
I have 35-14, but that was before the weather forecast. But I think it's going to be a little bit lower now. I'll say Notre Dame 24-7 over Boston College as they move to 8-3 on the season and set up for a real good game out in Los Angeles against their old nemesis, the Trojans of USC. Phil, it was great. We'll see you on Saturday. 18th ranked Notre Dame taking on Boston College. We'll give you the last word.
As always, Joe. As always, Len.
An average Joe. Come on.
For 20 years, I did work with a guy named Joe. As always, Len, fans, enjoy this. 2 more games of the regular season left, and there's only one thing left to say, and you say it better than I, so I'm going to put it back to you, Len.
Well, I'm going to say the game is at 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. Make sure you tune in for instant analysis with Tim O'Malley and Tim Priester prior to the game to get some final thoughts, but kick off at 2:30 p.m. Eastern time from Notre Dame Stadium. For Phil Houk of Fighting Irish Preview, I'm Len Clark of Irish Illustrated. Go Irish!
Commemorate your first Notre Dame game or that of a friend or family member with a Notre Dame Football Heritage Project certificate. Visit ndcertificate.com to learn more.